Welcome to Fifth Dimensional Life, Mass Human Awakening. I'm Lise, your host. Thank you so much for being here and for tuning in. I'm going to be talking about the Mandela effect and different timelines, how they affect you, and how you can affect them. So, the Mandela effect, why it is called this is because it actually is a real effect that has been felt around the world by many people. So, what it's all about is that people remember something from the past, like millions and millions of people remember um, Nelson Mandela dying in the 1980s. And then he actually died years later in 2013. So we remember something, millions of people or billions of people remember an event or a certain brand or a certain thing one way, and then years later, it's re-experienced, or else there's a new experience of it. And this is, in this case, what happened to Nelson Mandela. I remember learning about this in elementary school, that he had passed away in kind of like a horrific way. He was such a great human. He did a lot for South Africa. And then it ended up being that he passed away in 2013. And I was in my mid 20s at the time. And I was like, what? Like, I remember him passing away way, way longer, way long time ago. What's that all about? And, I wasn't alone. Millions and millions of other people remembered this too. And so he actually coined the phrase for the Mandela effect, where you have this experience in your past and then it ends up being completely different. There's a lot of brands, books, TV shows that also have this Mandela effect in them. Like the Monopoly guy, was he wearing that little eyeglass piece? Coca-Cola's branding, though, to me, I know that brands change their brands quite often. They update them. So those could just be like a branding update. But as for like TV shows and books, like the Bernstein Bears, the spelling of them is just like, I remember it being like this, but now it's like Bernstein Bears is how it's spelled, which, is just, that's a really weird thing, that it can't be a coincidence that the spelling's like totally different. There, somewhere along the line, was a major timeline jump. And yeah, even this show, Sex in the City. There's a ton of information. Lots of websites have written about this, even mainstream websites like MSN. Tons of info, tons of examples are out there. Here's an interesting one on entitymag.com, 50 examples of this. So it goes over some of the ones that I mentioned already. C3PO isn't even gold. Yeah, I heard about this other one with Forrest Gump. Life is like a box of chocolates, but life was like a box of chocolates, is what he actually says, supposedly. You can go on and on and on about so many of these Mandela effects throughout time. And it's more so like recent time too, within like since the 80s, it seems to be happening quite rapidly. And it's because of the major shift that we're going through right now, that's really coming, it's speeding up. So what's going on with our timeline in 2012, we've had a huge major shift in that, where like the Mayan calendar ended. I started getting really, really intense visions at that time as well, where our Earth actually split from the third dimensional Earth, and then the 5-dimensional Earth was coming in, and a whole bunch of timelines were shifting and changing. Also, like the shadow governments were trying to shift and change things so that humanity wouldn't go through this major ascension. And we ended up switching onto like a darker timeline. And then future civilizations also felt that timeline switch, like things were ending up switching to not so good things. For example, Corey Good talks quite a bit about the Anshar, the human civilization of our future that lives in Middle Earth, in Agartha. They had a whole bunch of things just start to go missing in their timeline that they're living through. And then they started coming in contact with more surface humans and saying, okay, you need to upgrade yourselves. We need to help you. We need to teach you how to increase your vibration and do more clearing so we can stay on this more positive timeline. And they ended up being quite successful with certain things. Also, many benevolent extraterrestrials have come in to help us, angelic beings, more humans have been awakened through that process. We needed more assistance to actually get back on the positive timelines. And there's so many timelines going on because of the multidimensional universe that we live in. There are 12 main dimensions. Some people argue that there's 11, some people argue that there's 13. I see it as like there's 12 main dimensions, and we're actually opening up to a 13th dimension through this. And within those dimensions, there's also 7 subdimensions, and within those, there's 7 and 7 and 7, 7, and into infinity and beyond. So, and this is just in our universe here. There's infinite universes, and they all have their own different types of multidimensionalities within them as well. And so here on thesun.com is a typical kind of mainstream type narrative. They have bizarre theories about parallel universes. NASA came out in May 2020 where they hinted at, no, they published evidence that found that there are parallel universes with ours, or twin universe. So, and some of these things I feel like they're hinting at the 4th dimension, where it's the etheric dimension, basically, which is a mirror to our physical plane here. And we constantly are in both of the different dimensions, but we're really only aware of the physical side of it. And we've been trained or programmed to not even comprehend or see into 4D and beyond that. But also, like, you can have timelines, which is a bit different from like the parallel universe. The timelines are every decision that you make creates something else. So if you're like, I'm not gonna go out tonight, and so you decide to stay home, whereas if you would have gone out that night, you could have met someone and had a great relationship with them, or a horrible relationship with them. There's multiple timelines that can be created or destroyed just from you choosing to do one thing and not the other thing. The Akashic records, I've mentioned this in a couple other videos. This is in the 8th dimension, where a record of everything that's ever happened is recorded, as well as multiple other timelines are also recorded. So if you would have went out and met that person or that group of people, all of those timelines are recorded through the Akashic records, plus the timeline that you're currently on. because we all have these soul contracts and soul destinies, exit points, major karmic meetings with people, soulmates. We have a lot of these things that are written before we even incarnate that we agree to. And that is part of our destiny. And it's written in our Akashic records as well. We have free will, though, still. That's like the wild card here on this planet, is that we can choose to do whatever we want, really. So even though we are predestined to have this soulmate, we could begrudgingly be like, nope, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go hang out with that person. I'm not going to meet them. I'm not going to do this thing. Or you could be like, I hate this life. I hate this incarnation. I'm going to end it right now. There's that wild card of endless possibilities because of our free will. So, all in all, nothing is set in stone. We can change the past. We can change our future. We can all do all of these different things from the moment of now. The most powerful thing that we have to do is our free will, and we can choose to change it right in this moment. Once we are conscious of the present moment, that is where our power lies. So, I want to ask you is, what are you doing with the power of right now? Are you conscious in your life right in this moment? Or are you on just autopilot? Are you going through the motions of your life, or are you consciously creating in the moment right now? What timeline are you on right now? Are you on your highest possible timeline of your incarnation, where you are fully activated and meeting your soul contracts? Or are you on this ruggedy path, or you have no clear direction and things aren't going very well for you? Or you're still on like your soul journey trying to find yourself? Where are you at? And it's taken me, about 33 years of my life to really figure out what the hell was actually going on with this incarnation, and to really deep dive into concepts like the Akashic records, Mandela effect, multiple timelines, parallel universes, all of those things. And a big catalyst was that I had extraterrestrials coming in and having these very, very confusing, very short meetings with me, doing upgrades on me, or giving me information, or making me an offer. And so I was forced into figuring all of these things out, because I was like, I can't go on living if I don't figure these things out. And then through that process, I ended up really activating myself, my other multidimensional abilities within myself, activating my DNA, and furthering my psychic abilities and my multi-level energetic bodies. So I want to help you activate as well, and push you to the boundaries of your mind, and break those boundaries, because so much of our life we've been programmed with things, and to really not even question a lot of this stuff. And I'm urging you to question everything that everything that's gone on in our so-called history, and challenge those ideas. Get on your highest possible loving timeline, activate yourself, step into your power. This is the time to do it, because if we as humanity all become activated and aware of the infinite possibilities and our infinite power, our free will, and not be on autopilot, choose to be in control of our lives and our timeline, we can all choose the highest timeline and completely wipe out the dark entities, the shadow governments, and really become happy, cohesive, unified human culture, or Terran surface humanity, and make huge leaps and bounds forward in technology, in creating peace on our planet and all the planets in our solar system. Why not? Why not? Let's make it happen together. So I hope you learned something about all of this and more, and really ask yourself those really hard, intense questions. If you need help about it, please get in touch with me and post your experiences in the comments too. I would love to hear your thoughts on this as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next video.